I think that God really loves seeing his children, his girls especially, as strong, independent individuals who have an identity, who can go out and speak their minds.
Hey, I'm Jody.
And I'm Chris.
And we are Loving the Outcome. Welcome to our podcast.
We're a husband and wife who rock out together.
We're parents of Milo and Ziggy.
And we're following Jesus as best we can.
Our story began in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where we fell in love, got married, and decided to sell everything and travel in our Jetta, selling CDs out of the trunk of our car.
The road led us to Nashville, where we signed a record deal, started our family, and now the four of us travel together in our minibus, White Neptune.
I know, crazy, right? Our life is a road trip.
And we want to invite you into it.
So come along for the ride as we chat with some of our favorite people about family, spirituality, wellness,
and of course, music.
Come on, let's go. Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the podcast. So good to have you. So good to be with you, always.
It's nice to be healthy again.
Yeah. You've been working out and I've been watching. It's been a good situation for everybody.
Well, it seemed like a cold went through our family over the last month, and now I can talk and I can breathe, and it feels good.
I mean, you just sound sexy when you're sick, so it doesn't really bother me. But sure.
You sound sexy.
Well, today is a fun episode that I got to do with Riley Clemmons.
Yeah, she is awesome.
Yeah, she's a blast. She walked in the door and we were wearing identical head-to-toe outfits.
The old Canadian tuxedo.
And she knew what a Canadian tuxedo was.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. We first met her, where did we first meet her?
We met her at the Rise radio event.
Women in Radio.
Women in Radio.
That's right. And she opened her mouth to sing and we were both like, dang.
Yeah.
This girl can sing.
Sing. She's from Nashville.
I know. We don't hardly meet anyone from originally.
Yeah, it's like Brandon Heath and I don't know really who else. We're all transplants here.
It's pretty cool. Like her story. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but she shares her beginnings and where she's at now, how she's dealing with COVID. You actually sat this one out.
I did. I was working on all the packages for your books.
Yeah, because you are the shop. Guys, this is a good problem. We have so many book orders that Chris couldn't podcast. He was sending out book orders.
Love it. Keep them coming.
I'm so grateful. Actually, for those of you watching,
smooth.
Look, da-da-da. The book is finally in my hands.
It's ready.
It's taken a minute, but it is finally here. And for those of you just listening, my book is finally here. And I think the cover, it turned out pretty good. I'm happy.
I'm on the back.
You are on the back. Of course you are.
That's me.
So thank you so much to everybody who pledged on the Kickstarter. You're literally the reason that this worked and that this book is in the world and that my dream was realized. And it is on sale now. And if you order through our shop,
I am Jody King Shop.
I am jodyking.shop.
No?
Yeah.
No?
I am jodyking.shop.
Uh-oh.
Well, it doesn't matter. It all goes to the same place. Yeah, that's what it is. I am jodyking.shop.
Isn't it I am jodyKingShop.com?
No.
It's okay. We'll cut this out.
No. It's I am jodyking.shop.
Okay.
It all goes... I think she has everything routed. I am jodyking.shop.
Oh. Awesome. How about that? There it is. I am jodyking.shop.
We're not going to cut this out because this is the real husband and wife running a business together moments that everybody lives for, really knowing how it goes. Like, let's be honest, you guys are like, you're not always this in love and this sweet to each other. Give me the real stuff.
Always in love, not always terribly smart.
So there you go. I am jodyking.shop.
There it is.
That's okay. You're not ordering the book. You're shipping them out.
I did order one to test it out.
Oh, look at you.
I shipped it to myself.
Little present. Anyways, guys, order the book. I'll sign them for you, and that's exciting. So back to Riley. This is not all about me. But yeah, I had some girl time because you had to be shipping books. I was like, I don't mind hanging with. I'm always with boys. I love my boys, but it was great to have some
boys
girl
are
talk.
preschool, and yeah.
Yeah.
and just hanging.
I think my favorite part of the conversation, because I think sometimes when two musicians get together, maybe people are like, I'm not a musician. This podcast isn't for me. This podcast is for you because we talk about being female, being Christians, and dealing with identity, dealing with knowing how to follow our gut and follow God, and how those intersect together. And that being strong and passionate and showing your true colors is actually what God made us to do. We don't have to pretend that we're too much. You know, I think sometimes as females, we feel that pressure to just like flip our hair, not have opinions, and just stay meek and mild. But hey, if that's you, then that's who you need to be. But if you have a fire inside you and you just want to live your real life how you are, then this episode is for everybody that wants to take those steps towards being more truly yourself.
Amen. I would flip my hair if I could. I don't know what's going on.
It's in place. It's in place.
It needs help again.
Well, I'm going to link to Riley's music because she actually has new music coming out. And if you haven't heard some of her songs, Fight For You, I think, is my favorite one, then you're going to want to check that out. So I'll link to that in the show notes. And by the time it airs, she'll have new music out. So definitely check that out and rate and subscribe to the podcast so more people can hear it. We have over 10,000 listeners subscribed at this point, and that's pretty fun because we've only been doing this for, 40 episodes?
I think this is 45.
45. You produce it, so you would know. So dig back in the vault. There's a whole bunch of episodes you've probably missed, and Worship Wednesdays are our favorite night of the week. It's the night we get to play a show and hang out with you guys from our music room.
Yeah.
So 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll link to the book too. So the best way to support our family, you're always asking, is to buy the book.
I am JodyKing.shop.
Let's dive into this episode.
I'm moving on. Guilt has had its grip on me for way too long. This will be my freedom song. Hallelujah, because of you I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Look who's hanging with me.
Hello.
Riley, thank you so much.
I'm so excited to be here. I love you
Yay.
guys. This is fun.
We dressed like twins without
Unintentionally. You
No
can't
prep.
even see. The pants match too.
If you're only listening, we're like full denim.
Yes.
Head to
Canadian tuxedo.
I'm so impressed that you know
I
that.
love a Canadian tuxedo.
Riley Clemmons is on the podcast, and we first met, I want to say, at the Women in Radio.
I think so.
Event.
I think yes, that's the first time we met. Which is crazy.
I got to sit back. I was like, this voice is
You're
like
so sweet. You're
Alicia
so sweet.
Keys. See, I grew up like, I idolized Alicia Keys.
I love Alicia Keys.
You do? Okay, I was like, maybe that's too old of a reference.
No, I love Alicia.
Yeah, you can sing, girl.
Thank you.
It was so refreshing. And I'll tell you what I was struck by from a distance, because like we weren't best friends or anything, but I just felt like you were so captivating because you were very free to just like let her rip. You weren't really holding back. You're being yourself, vivacious,
You're
and
so sweet.
that's like girls need to see other girls that know how to just be themselves.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree. The women in my life who have done that have had such a huge impact, and
Yeah.
I love seeing other women do it too. It's amazing.
It's good because I think that we're our own worst critic, and then if we do that to ourselves, then that's what we do to other people. As girls, we can just be hard on each other. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes.
it's not good. So tell me, because I want to know your story. I want to know, because we're new friends, and I know like the highlight reel,
Yeah, the highlight reel.
you know, which I love the highlight reel.
great.
It's so good. I
great.
love your singles,
You're
but
so
I don't
sweet.
really know the whole story. Are
Yeah.
you a Nashvilleian, like from go?
I am from Nashville.
Wow.
Born and raised in Nashville.
That's great.
It's like the best place in the world to be.
Yeah.
This is all I've ever known, which is really amazing. That it also, definitely adds a different layer to the story. So I grew up in Tennessee. My family's been here as well. And so I just remember as a kid growing up, going to church, listening to my mom sing in the choir.
You did?
Yeah. I mean,
that.
amazing. Sitting on the edge of her bathtub, listening to her warm up in the mornings.
Wow.
Those moments. And always gospel music, Southern gospel.
Yeah.
These rich vocals with these amazing lyrics, and the passion behind it was the initial draw to music.
Yeah, I love that.
So even from, 3-4 years old,
yeah.
you can, like, your kids, they can feel the music.
Oh, man. Yes,
feel it.
they
You can feel it.
It's so true.
You can feel
Yep.
it. And so I grew up around music. Long story short, I get older. I'm around more music. My dad was a hard rock fan. He loves it.
Love it.
Love it.
You're getting such a well-rounded upbringing.
Gospel, rock music. I was around country, being a Nashville girl.
Yes, totally.
My neighbors are country music artists out on the road. We would see tour buses in and out all the time. So because of that, the idea of music was always very much a realistic thing.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
how God just like weaves the puzzle pieces of our lives. Because growing up in Canada, it couldn't have been more opposite. Like my parents sang in church, same thing there.
Yeah.
Grew up watching them, loving it, wanting to sing. No real examples that it could be real life.
Right.
It was a
different
hobby.
thing. Different thing.
So I love that you
Yeah.
grew up with like this could be my life.
Yeah, and I think a huge difference, especially being drawn to music so young. My parents were also on the same page. They
Right.
saw people
Yeah.
around us in our community that were actively pursuing careers as writers or
Yeah.
players or musicians and artists. And so being around all that and, listening to pop music and being drawn to that,
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to pull from those inspirations.
Yeah.
And find something unique to say and find a sound that felt like a mixture of all of those things in
Yeah.
a really honest sense of the word. And so I started writing my own music around 10 years old.
Wow.
But,
Do you remember any of your like first?
I distinctly remember sitting in the back of cars on road trips. We're big road trip people.
Love it.
And so writing lyrics down and looking out the window and
Wow.
writing down what I saw and
That's beautiful.
things like that. It's such a crazy story being from Nashville. But I was around music.
I love it.
Started listening to all different kinds of music.
Yeah.
Pulled from them, started writing.
Yeah.
And then I was going to middle school in Nashville. And I was in a choir concert. And a middle school choir concert. Hot mess. But I had this little tiny solo.
Yes,
that was
you
a gospel
did.
song.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm here. I might as well go for it.
I might as well give it 100
I
billion
might as well,
%.
which is, maybe a little overdone even. But there just so happened to be a manager there in the music industry.
What?
When I was 12.
Is this this is amazing.
It's so fun. He was there to see his daughter.
Wow.
And so after this choir concert, I'm in the hall, like outside of the theater, talking to my friends, as an 8th grader does. And this man in a suit walked up to me, and he was like, "Hi, where are your parents?" My instinct, I was like, I'm in trouble. I've done something wrong.
Right.
Why is a man in a suit asking me where my parents are? But
Right.
Anyway, long story short, it ended up being a manager.
Wow.
Who managed a lot of artists. And I had never, that idea just kind of blew my mind.
Wow.
And,
what did he say?
He wanted to have a meeting. He wanted to talk about, where I saw myself as a 12-year-old. And so basically I take this meeting.
Wow.
I just so happen to write music, and I'm 12. I'm sitting there like, I don't know what
Right.
to do. What is this?
Like, I want to sing.
I just want to sing.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I wanted to sing.
Yeah.
My parents said from the time I was little, I said I wanted to be a singer, and I did not have a backup plan. And I still don't. So I knew I wanted to sing. I knew that I was writing music. I knew that I loved pulling from the things in my life that inspired me. And
Yeah.
a huge part of that was my faith.
Yeah.
And so that's where the music ended up landing, especially like as a young girl figuring out what it looks like to take it and internalize it.
Yeah.
That's where the music was landing.
Yeah.
And so I ended up signing with this manager.
Crazy.
At
What a story.
13. Yeah.
Girl.
Bizarre.
Wow.
Really bizarre. And he's still my manager to this day.
That's
And
beautiful.
I'm 20. Yeah.
What a great story.
It's crazy.
Everyone needs a story like that to know that that's possible.
It's so, exactly, because, I mean, you make plans and you have ideas, and it's just so funny how you just kind of have to give it to God and let him do his thing.
Yeah. But I love that you were even like that young doing your thing. Chris and I always say, like, have we done what we can do so God can do what we can't do?
That's good.
You
That's
know?
so good.
And it's like you were like giving it your all on that solo. You were just writing your lyrics down. I feel like those little steps are just everything.
Absolutely. And I mean, by no means, like you said, you're looking at the quick reel of the good stuff and the times when you make it and figure it out. But I mean, of course, it's been full of ups and downs. As a woman in the music industry, as a young woman, as an artist in general, there are challenges that you don't really see coming. And
what have you found, if I can ask you that? What's been the most challenging for your heart? For your heart in all of this? I
think for me, especially starting so young, it was finding the balance between this is business, this is work. This is a career. This is, this is this is my relationship with Jesus. And they can coexist. I think that the challenging part was so much of the music invited my faith into it and incorporated so much of it, but learning that this song doesn't work. Well, it's not a reflection of the relationship. It's a reflection of the business and the demographic, and there are so many moving pieces.
That's so I can relate to that so much. And just do you ever find too, just with social media and stuff like that, sometimes I have to pull back and go, I think that nugget was just for me and Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I think that I don't need to post. Posting doesn't make my relationship with Jesus real. It steals away often.
It absolutely does. I mean, this year's been a doozy.
Woo, girl! Let's talk about that.
Oh, it's been a doozy. And the whole social media thing to me has been so amplified. So
everyone's home and brave behind their phone.
It's true. It's really true. There are a lot of brave people sitting behind the facade of a cell phone.
Right, and thinking I can say anything, but saying something to someone's face, that's when you know if what you're saying is worth saying.
That's right.
And if it's loving, and sometimes it is worth saying, but the way you say it, like Chris and I are talking about this, I'm like, babe, Christian women need to know that we need to have a voice, and you only know your voice by using your voice.
Exactly.
The difference between being a Christian woman and just being a woman is that we say it in love.
Yeah.
But you're allowed an opinion.
Exactly.
But I feel like just hiding behind screens and just feeling like, oh, I need to say something because everyone's saying something. And
exactly.
Yeah, how's that been for you?
I mean, I think there's a different layer on top. In general, social media, when you have some sort of a platform or it's part of the way to stay connected with fans and listeners.
Totally. It's an extension of your business.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best, and it's such a blessing. But also, if I could, I would delete every social media app off my phone and toss it. Yeah. Because I found, especially in the last few months, being home and off the road, which is a huge change, the time that I've gotten to invest in family and things like yoga that I've never done before, and
home life
books,
stuff,
being home, I found so much richness there that I, even to the degree that I had never seen before. So it's been really nice, and more of a reason to want to put down my phone, which is great.
When did you get a phone? How old were you?
Too young. I was probably way too young. Let me think. Now it feels so young. No, 12-year-olds shouldn't have phones, but I think I was probably 12 or 13.
And was Instagram, so not Instagram yet, right? Or was Instagram a thing?
I remember my first Instagram post. This is you can't find it. It's deleted now, but this is the best part. This is how pure it was. I took a box of crayons and poured them out, and I created a heart from the crayons. And that
was your first post?
That was my first post, and it was with one of the original Instagram filters.
I love
back in the day.
Yes.
It was probably like 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about right. Isn't that wild?
What a crazy journey. I know. I can't, because I didn't have Instagram or a phone growing up, and I I already was great at shaming myself. I was already great at the
Join
comparison
club.
stuff, right?
Oh.
I didn't need help in any of those areas. So I just feel like what a challenge. And I feel it all the time. Like I have to literally, when I look in the mirror, especially like being a woman, like you said, in music, anti-aging is a term I've come to like despise. Just so many things that we say as normal and commonplace. You're like, that's not biblical at all. Like,
That's not what it's about.
no. And how do I stay relevant and current and myself, but like sort of fight against some of these things and not just go with the flow?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that is such a real thing. I mean, in general, you
Yeah.
start playing the comparison game,
Oh,
comparing
man.
body, face,
Yeah.
skin, hair. You go down the list of the
Yeah.
physical things, but then
Yeah.
even the lifestyle
Yeah.
and personality, and even as an artist, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at what music are they putting out? Is mine
Right.
right? Is
Right.
this- it is such a comparison game. And I
Yeah.
think so many people, so many women specifically, experience that and feel that. My little sister, my mom.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's
Yeah.
not age specific.
It's not.
Like I used to think you grow out of it.
Oh.
But I've been
I
talking
hope you would.
right? And I mean, okay, so I do feel like hooray, definitely getting better. Definitely I can look in the mirror now and start to focus in on the things because we only see what we don't really like.
That's exactly
First
right.
off.
That's exactly right.
I'm able to like stop the thought for real though and go, no, we're not going there. We're going here. And like start to replace that with some truth. So, I mean, I've gotten better. There's some tools. But in talking to my mom, like she's still dealing with those same things. We get better at maybe knowing ourselves
Yeah.
and knowing our trouble spots. But yeah, man, like being a human, being a female and understanding even my identity, understanding, okay, we're going to go here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever struggled with this, but I have found during COVID a lot of questions and DMs from girls asking me like, finding my identity in Christ is what I want, but I've lost my identity. Like, I don't know who I am. And so many of the verses in scriptures I'm reading about trusting God with all my heart, not leaning on my understanding, has left me not knowing what I understand and left me
that's good.
not knowing underneath it all. We've
Yeah.
almost been, I think some of us raised in church as females to almost like roll over and play dead and just God's in control. He's got it. I don't need to vote. We're not going to go all the way over into that conversation, but all the things
Yeah.
like, and I just felt like Holy Spirit say to me during this time, like, I'm in control of everything except your decisions though.
Yeah.
You know, like you have a part to play and just undoing some unlearning and seeing through a different lens with Jesus. That's the thing, not apart from him. Because in the tension, it's so easy to pull apart.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I just feel like we have to, there's a pain point there, I feel like as women, where we don't know how to trust our gut and trust God. And know
That's
that.
good. That's good.
You know,
We need
have
that
you-
on a t-shirt? That's really good.
Let's make it.
Let's make it.
Why not?
I know what you're saying though. I
Do
think
you?
that's a very real thing is I mean again it's like it's confusing the voice of what has been taught and what's been ingrained that maybe has been taken out of context.
Yeah.
That maybe has started looking like something it's not versus, you know, what does this scripture actually mean?
Right.
How is it digested? How is it actually applied?
Yeah.
And I think so much of that is I think that God really loves seeing his children, seeing his girls especially,
Yeah.
as strong, independent individuals
Right.
who have an identity, who can go out and speak their minds, sing their minds, and I think that.
Woo!
I mean, it's a challenging thing though. I think that it's
Because we've been kind of taught that strong is wrong.
yeah.
In a lot of ways, I feel like as females, we came from man, or we are, and yes, we did. And I love my husband. My husband's the best gift in my life. And like, but guess what? I had worth and value before him.
Right. Oh my goodness. And if because most of the DMs that I see coming into my inbox as
Talk
well,
about it. Talk about it.
it's a lot of women, and it's a lot of women around my age, younger, some older, and it's a lot of the question of what's identity? What does that look like? Why do I look at myself in the mirror and start thinking that it's all wrong? Why do I go into correction mode of how are we going to fix this? And I think, part of what's made this pandemic has been a whole pandemic and a half.
Yeah.
You know, it's been long.
It's still going.
It's still going. But I think that what I've taken away is God has really shown me what rest looks like in my life. And a lot of that rest, the fruit that's come from that labor of rest even, so funny to say that.
Right. Sure.
It has been finding identity and finding worth in, no, I'm not slammed to the gills. I'm not on the road.
And I'm still worth a lot, even though I'm busy.
Yeah, and it's there even in rest, even when you're fighting the burden of unproductive. God forbid,
right?
That you're not productive every second of the day.
Oh, right.
That's a hard thing for me.
Yeah,
I have a lot of
Same,
guilt
girl.
for not going.
Yeah,
but in that time of rest, in that time of not being productive in the standard type of way, I have found that a lot of the questions of identity, a lot of the questions of value, I've been able to take a lot of the lies that, you know, I can sit on and wrestle with and fill them with a lot more truth and
wow,
and be more accepting of things that change, you know, from down to how I feel from one day to the next to down to gaining 5 pounds in quarantine,
right?
You know? Things that we're so taught to be ashamed of and so taught to carry around as, gosh, this change. Oh my goodness, I've been able to find a lot of peace with it.
Can you say that all again? Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
like
but
I didn't even used to eat bread. And now look over on my counter. No one can see it. I bake sourdough
beautiful.
twice a week.
And
Twice
you know
a
what?
week.
You should.
And I eat half the loaf.
Yes, you do.
Because life's too short.
It's too short. It really is too short. And that's what that's what I've learned. It's been taking
that's
those
so good.
moments to find the line between, you know, I am a people pleaser. I'm such a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And taking a moment to kind of pull the reins back and look at some of the unhealthy habits in my life, you know?
Wow.
Kind of
because we have to sort of look at ourselves for real in quarantine.
Yeah, you do.
You really do. It's a lot of...
Where you have to.
Yeah, it's so true. I know. And you have nothing else, like whatever you were finding some worth in, even though that's normal. Of course, we're pouring ourselves in to these gifts and opportunities God's given. But yeah, I remember the first couple months staring at our tour buses parked, and we kind of do recording and stuff in our little playroom, and out the window is our bus full of merch. And I just struggled, like looking at that thing, like, okay, who am I apart from this? Like, this has kind of become my identity, touring with my family, doing all the things, and now I'm home, and who am I? And all those things that you thought you knew.
Change, yeah. Where's your value lie beneath that? And I think that's when I really had to start praying and kind of looking at the places I got really comfortable and going, okay, God, challenge me. Who am I right now?
Wow, what a good prayer.
Yeah.
That's good.
Ooh, it's a hard one to pray.
Oh, I'm like, kind of gave me goosebumps. Like, I might pray that tomorrow. That takes some guts.
Yeah.
No, I want to have the courage to pray that.
Yeah, it's oh my goodness, it's been a work in progress. As an answer to all those DMs, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the self-love and acceptance and patience for other people and myself.
Right.
But I don't think that journey
beautiful.
ends.
No, and I love that that is the beauty of when you are work from rest.
Yeah.
When you are working from rest, which the first time I really stopped to think about that, everything changed, because then I'm like, whoa. Like you just described, when I'm resting and God is informing for real and he's initiating, that's not tiring.
Exactly. Which is wild.
Like, whoa, I could live like that? That sounds so good.
So good.
Like, that's just mind-boggling. So there's been gifts in quarantine for sure. But I love you letting us in. Because I feel like that's the beauty, again, of you just being real, being you, the age you are in the place you're in, going, this is how I met God today. This is actually how I got mad at God today. Like, you have, your songs are, like, they're so, I went on a run just to, like, refresh. And, oh, man, I was in tears. Like, I'll never stop fighting for you. Was there ever a time, like, have you ever felt momentarily like he didn't fight for you or let down by the Father?
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, with writing that song, it was such affirmation to me. You know, I've always been told from probably the time I was 13 and started co-writing in Nashville. It was, you go write the song that you need to hear. Write the song that you wish existed. And I think Fighting for me was a big
Wow.
example of that. I remember walking into the room, and at the time I was really tired. I had been writing and writing and writing. I couldn't find this. I didn't know what the single was. Nothing was feeling right. We had a lot of music I was proud of, but at that point I started having these second guessing questions of, what am I doing? At the time I was 19 when I wrote it, I think, and just feeling like, should I be in school right now? I don't, just kind of feeling out of control in the sense of a small, tiny identity crisis. And I think at that moment, walking into the studio, there was this pause of course I don't know what's right. Of course I don't know. I've just been going and going and going and doing it just, from the 8 hours of sleep I got the night before and pushing my way through things. But I think with Fighting for me, it was this moment of, that's not my job. I don't have to do that. There's so much freedom there, but needing it, I think that the first line of the song, I need the kind of love that can outlast the night. Because those nights when you're staring at the ceiling alone.
Totally. Oh, that gave me goosebumps.
What are you leaning back on? And I wanted to lean on a love that was not just a temporary thing to get me through the day, I wanted something that would fight for me when I couldn't do it for myself. Yeah. And so that it was really just a prayer, and we put it in song form, and I think that's why people connected to it is because it was a song that I needed to connect to. I had to connect to. Yeah.
I felt that when you sang it. I was like, oh, this is real for you.
Yeah.
It's because you can write a good song. We're in Nashville.
Yeah.
We can.
There are people.
Yeah, we can write like most of it, and then someone can take it the rest of the way, or we can just write a good song. But there's such a difference, and you can sense it when an artist is standing on testimony, Yeah. It goes beyond a good song to like, I'm owning this truth because I've actually had to wrestle this through.
Exactly.
Then it has authority. It has authority.
It
and
does.
And I just feel like, our jobs, like you said, it's not my job to find, that's so good. Like, I feel like the stress always comes from doing things that aren't our job.
That is a real thing. That is absolutely a real thing. Yeah. You just get bogged down. Yeah. It gets heavy.
It's too much. We're not meant to do all those things.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really good. Like, coming from that place. That's not my job. God's going to fight for me. I can rest.
And the crazy thing is, I knew that it was a real thing for me when, it's one thing to write a song and live with it for a little bit and put it out, and you could never listen to it again. You could give it to the world, and people could listen and do their thing, and you could never interact again if you didn't want to. Right. But playing it on a stage, 5 nights a week, and every time I sang it, I remember thinking, whoa, I needed to hear it today.
Right? This was for me.
I needed to sing it. I needed to declare it over myself, if anything.
Yeah. We're very forgetful, aren't we? It's just like, God, that's what you do for me.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. So it's only in that presence that things aren't heavy. Because when we're living future, it's like, oh, that's your job. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm living past. I'm shaming myself. Oh, you took care of that. Oh, right here is where it's light. Oh, yeah. And you got to give that gift to people, which is so good. So I want to know what's coming up. Can you tell us all the things?
I'm really excited. I can tell you that I'm so, so excited. And by the time that people are listening to this, new music will be a day away. Yay! That's so crazy. I'm so excited.
Was it something you wrote during quarantine?
No. Here's the crazy thing. The story behind this song, I'm sure the title will be out by this point, but it's called Healing. And I wrote it 2 years ago out in LA. I was on a writing trip. I went out there and doing all the goods, going to sessions, and I remember walking into one session just feeling a kind of heaviness. Somebody that is near and dear to my heart was walking through a very transitional time of life, and there had been more bumps in the road than I'm sure she'd wanted. Yeah. And so I had this title Healing in my phone. I was like, okay, I want to write something that captures, what I hope for her. I want to write from her perspective of what I've heard, of her story. And so it's basically, I mean, the first line of the song is, saw the end of the tunnel, didn't think that I would make it out, got so used to the dark, I was scared of what the light would do now. You know, about getting comfortable in a broken place and being even scared of what getting better would look like.
Because it just becomes normal.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've had this song for 2 years.
Wow.
And now I remember my team and I had this moment of this is the time to release that song.
Wow.
In the middle of a year where so many people have been hurt and suffered loss and extraordinary pain and
Totally.
extraordinary ups and downs. I think that the idea that healing is available and possible and you can get up from falling down and being on the ground and get up even stronger. I need to hear that right now, and I think a lot of people are hungry for that. So I'm really excited. I hope this song just encourages people that, you know, there is hope.
Yeah.
There's hope.
We all need, we just all need that right now.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
A double scoop. We need to.
Yeah, we do. We'll just have repeat. Your song on repeat.
Yeah, there we go.
For real, though.
There we go.
People will.
I'm
I
really
can't
excited.
wait to hear it.
Yeah, and we shot a music video for it out in Malibu.
Ooh, you did? Come on. Can we shoot all music videos in Malibu?
That's what I said. I called my mom when the team reached out and they were like, "Hey, I think we're gonna shoot in Malibu." I was like, "Yeah, that'll work.
Super cash.
I can do that.
Yeah,
I can go to
I mean,
Malibu.
if that's what everyone thinks is right.
It's fine. If that's the vision they see, great." And so I remember calling my mom and I was like, "I'm getting you a plane ticket to Malibu. Let's go." And so my mom and I
love
went
it.
out for a few days and it was so much fun.
The best. I cannot wait for all the things.
Thank you.
You're such a gift. Thank you
you.
so
Oh my
much.
goodness.
Seriously, this was so fun.
I've had the best time.
Okay, guys, love you all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks, Riley Clemmons. You're the best.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Bye.